in the mid to late 2000s, and I hated it then. I hate it now. It's fucking terrible. The character of Harley Quinn is terrible. She needs to be killed off. She was only really good in Batman the Animated Series. She's fucking worthless now. She's some sort of feminist icon in this show, by the way. The big fat Asian. No, it's Dr. Quinzel, Asian woman. That's what I'm calling her. She captures greedy rich men. So she's fighting capitalism and the patriarchy. Both. Both. And the reason some of us got criticism for calling this woke Batman, the reason we did that is because Bruce Timm told us this would be woke Batman. I'm going to do all the stuff they wouldn't let me do back then. This is my true vision of Batman the Animated Series. They're pulling that shit.
So it really sucks because, like, I do like the animation. I think the animation is really well done. I like the style that they're going with. It's just a bad fucking story. And all of the characters aren't, except for Batman. I think you were saying earlier, like, I like the characterization of Batman. He was fine. But he's in the movie, or in the show, for like 10% of every episode.
It's not much until later.
It's not much at all.
At least Catwoman looks good, too. Catwoman looks fine.
Catwoman's good, yeah.
But then we got this.
I'm sorry. Tell you what, meet me later at Hopper's on Wilson and Lowry. We'll pick up where we left off.
It's a Batman show. But we've been following Renee Montoya on a date. She's the lead detective now. We see more of her than James Gordon. It's freaking terrible. Now, was that from the comics and the retcons? Sure. Like, except for, well, I don't know. I haven't read the DC comics. Have they made Dr. Quinzel a fat Asian woman?
Yeah, was that in the comics?
No, but
she's not a fat Asian
them
woman.
becoming lesbian.
Over the last few weeks, there's been a lot of controversy surrounding Mr. Beast, the biggest creator in the world on YouTube, over 300 million subscribers. A lot of controversy has been revealed just in the last few weeks, and it's been a domino effect. One thing after another, after another, after another. And there's been a lot of questions, there's been a lot of commentary, there's been a lot of what appears to be covering up going on, but it was all speculation as to how much would this actually impact Mr. Beast. Does the majority of his audience know? Will it have any real impact on his YouTube videos? And a lot of people, present party included, said, I don't really think it's going to have that much of an impact, because while it's a big topic on Twitter, most of his following, his 300 million followers, don't really know about this. Well, he uploaded a video today, and let me tell you, I was wrong and so many others were wrong. Right now, if you look at the like to dislike ratio on Mr. Beast's latest upload, just hit 1 million upvotes to nearly 600,000 downvotes. And that's just the beginning. This is really bad for Mr. Beast. Really bad. So it's clear that it's not just a small group of people on Twitter or a few commentators on YouTube that are talking about this. It's clear that Mr. Beast is facing serious backlash from not only critics of him, but his own fan base. And it gets even worse because Twitter put a community note on Mr. Beast's latest tweet talking about the controversy. Guess what? That community note is no longer there. Interesting. Here is Jake the Viking, formerly of Mr. Beast, and he said, and it's already gone. So right here, there was a community note on this tweet from Mr. Beast, and it says, Mr. Beast fully knew that Ava Chris Tyson conducted unacceptable acts online. Mr. Beast was in a server containing minors, which with Tyson and other members of the Mr. Beast crew talking about NSFW topics. And now you go over to that tweet, and the community note is no longer there. This tweet from Mr. Beast has over 100 million views, by the way. But it's gone. No more community note. But wait, it gets worse because now we have people showing that Mr. Beast, his account is now deleting comments from his latest upload right here. Comments being removed. You click on it and it's gone. You click on it, all of these critical comments, and they're gone. And this is not the only account that's been saying this. There have been many other accounts that have been saying that their comments are being deleted. So right now, Mr. Beast is facing an absolute shitstorm of controversy, and it's not going to get any better for him. You have this video from Dogpack, which has gone mega viral at the time of me recording this, has over 9 million views. It reportedly was suppressed, and it still has over 9 million views. And if you see the like to dislike ratio on this video compared to Mr. Beast's video, you're seeing that there's a lot of negativity. Let me refresh this right now. And so 583,000 downvotes. So it's going to cross 600,000 downvotes very soon. Will it get ratioed? I'm going to say no. I'm going to say this video will not get ratioed, but we will see. I didn't think it was going to have 600,000 downvotes in 2 hours, but here we are. Now, Dogpack has been getting, Dogpack has shown twice now he's received a cease and desist from the Mr. Beast legal team. And at the time of me recording this, from the last update I heard, I think he's still planning on coming out with another video. And according to Dogpack, it's going to be even worse than this video right here, which will be unbelievable if that's the case, because this was a 53-minute video that broke down a lot of different accusations that were placed upon the Mr. Beast crew and the Mr. Beast team and the Mr. Beast Corporation.
on the razor's edge.
Welcome to Summoner's Rift. A summoner has disconnected. 30 seconds until minions spawn. Minions have spawned.
I never compromise. Ha!
Break. No plea for mercy will stay my hand.
Pathetic. There's nowhere to hide.
A summoner has disconnected. Defeat.
Then you had team members from the Mr. Beast crew try and give a rebuttal to what Dogpack was saying here, and that didn't really go over very well. Now you have cease and desist. You have Dogpack talking about how he's receiving text messages from different people. Right here, also my number got leaked, apparently from a Mr. Beast employee named Kaylee. I've been getting texts from former Mr. Beast employees. Text I received last night claims that James wants to have private investigators start following me, which again is absolutely insane. And then follow me and looking into my family's social media accounts to find ways to discredit me. Apparently the best narrative they have right now is that I'm a crazy, drug-addicted Mr. Beast superfan that got fired for trying to steal company funds. If this text is true, I will say, Mr. Beast, if you want to resort to personal attacks, I'm happy to reciprocate. Listen, I don't know if this...
Neverwinter suffers under the Wailing Death, an oppressive plague spread by the mysterious Cult of the Eye. But have no fear, 4 magical water Davian creatures hold the key to a cure. All we have to do is hope they don't get stolen before the cure is made. But wouldn't you know it, the water Davian creatures have been stolen before the cure is made. So it's up to Brother Hammerbane, cleric of Saint Cavil, and his trusty sidekick, the summoned direwolf, Sir Fluffles, to get them back and save the city. Neverwinter Nights is a Dungeons & Dragons role-playing game released back in 1991 and could be considered one of the precursors to modern MMORPGs, not to be confused with the identically titled but totally different Neverwinter Nights, which is a Dungeons & Dragons role-playing game released in 2002. That one is a 3D BioWare game, following on from their success with Baldur's Gate 1 and 2. It's the one that everyone thinks of when you say Neverwinter Nights, and it's the one we're playing today. It released to extremely favorable reviews and sits at 91% today on Metacritic, one of the highest rated RPGs. It would go on to see 2 expansion packs, Shadows of Udrantide and Hordes of the Underdark, both releasing in 2003, and then 5 premium modules, which were slightly smaller expansions using the same game engine, releasing all the way up until 2006. It would then see a sequel in Neverwinter Nights 2, and that getting 3 expansion packs. But the true brilliance of Neverwinter Nights isn't in the single-player experience, but its Dungeon Master Creation Toolkit and the online hosting of these adventures, allowing players to create their own campaigns and then let their friends run through them online, with the Dungeon Master controlling the enemies live. And it's a testament to the quality of this system that games are still being made and hosted and played. Indeed, Neverwinter Nights still has multiple persistent online role-playing worlds with consistent player bases run by and for the players of the game. Now, I'm a massive video game, RPG, and Dungeons & Dragons fan, so you'd assume I have a lot of opinions about Neverwinter Nights. Well, I need to be honest with you, and the biggest shock of this video might be a simple truth. Hi, I'm Josh Stripe-Hayes, and I have never played Neverwinter Nights. Please put your pitchforks down and let me explain. Okay, I played it once when I was a kid, many years ago, and I remember nothing about this game except getting to some goblin-filled caves about 7 or 8 hours in and being so bored that I quit. Now, I know how important people say this game is, in both the video game and Dungeons & Dragons landscape. I've been told all about the amazing multiplayer adventures people have made, but I have no knowledge of this myself. So I figured it's time to change that. This means I'm going into Neverwinter Nights with no nostalgia, no childhood love for the game, if anything the opposite, childhood boredom, no previous game knowledge or skill clouding my vision. I'm going to complete the entire base campaign, The Wailing Death, and do every quest I find along the way. Look into all the mechanics and see if it still holds up today. And then I'll finally know, for myself, Neverwinter Nights, was it actually any good?
Je wilt je kat verwennen en je wilt dat ze gezond blijft. Varieer daarom met de droog- en natvoeding van Purina One. Gezonde, volledige maaltijden met een heerlijke smaak. Een combinatie waarop je kunt vertrouwen. Purina One.
Er is weinig nodig om weer helemaal verliefd te worden. Een beetje van jezelf en de verleidelijke pizza-restauranten. Ristorante Piccolissima. Nu met nog meer heerlijke mini-pizza's om samen van te genieten.
Two quick warnings. This game does feature giant spiders, and I am going to spoil the entire plot of Neverwinter Nights 1, so only watch if you're okay with both those things. This is a long video, so grab a cup of tea, settle in, and thank these lovely people for supporting me on Patreon and allowing me to keep making long-form stuff like this. More information on how you can join them at the end, but for now, let's begin. But which version do we begin with? Because you've got the base CD game, but then also the Diamond Edition, which came bundled with both expansions and 3 of the premium modules. And then we got the Enhanced Edition, in the same vein as the Baldur's Gate 1 and 2 Enhanced Edition made by Beamdog, the same people. And this version contains the complete Diamond Edition, plus a few graphical updates and general stability patches for more modern systems. For this video, I'll be playing the Enhanced Edition. There was some drama back when this released, as it didn't have complete compatibility with some of the already created player-made modules using Diamond Edition, but I'll touch on that later. And while this video isn't sponsored, I do want to give a big thank you to Good Old Games for supplying me with this game. Thank you, GOG. So I'll start by playing the base game campaign, The Wailing Death, which is a short tutorial and then 4 chapters of gameplay. If I enjoy it, I'll play the expansions and maybe try some of the multiplayer stuff. The game uses the D&D 3rd edition rule set, so we'll be seeing some quirks of that along the way. Character creation. Oh man, I love late 90s, early noughties fantasy art. Now, I'm likely going to be soloing the game, so I'll need a class which can deal decent damage but also have self-healing, so we're going to go with Cleric. You assign your ability points to your 6 main attributes, just like Baldur's Gate, but unlike that, you don't have the endless re-rolling. You just get told how many points you have to assign. Now, I'm not going to use a meta build guide, so seasoned veteran Neverwinter Nights players are probably screaming at all the mistakes I'm about to make, but I'm having fun. And the game doesn't skimp on the customization. It's even got some pre-made spell and ability selections for new players to use as a crutch, but I want to go full control. Clerics get 2 domain specializations. I'm going to go war and healing to be a melee beast battle tank, and hey look, there's even physics when you spin the model. The shirt swooshes around. Now, these 3D models were actually a major selling point at the time. BioWare had made Baldur's Gate and Baldur's Gate 2, both exceptionally highly praised isometric games, and the jump to 3D is always a big risk. Sometimes it's a make or break moment in franchise design. I guess we'll see how it did. We give our character a voice. Options include Dumb Hero.
Don't just stand there! Crack some heads!
Or Pious Scholar.
By my will, attack!
I like the personality touches these have.
Cool your weapons.
I think I'll go with boisterous and good-natured, and we are done. Meet Brother Hammerbane, Warhammer-wielding battle cleric, here to dispense justice in the name of his deity, Saint Cavill. So with sturdy hammer in our hand and faith in our heart, cue the opening cinematic. So the city isn't doing too great. A plague known as the Wailing Death is spreading. Not to be confused with the Beckoning Death seen in the Dungeons & Dragons Honor Among Thieves film. You can tell them apart because that one beckons, while this one wails. But luckily, Neverwinter has recently received delivery of 4 magical water Davian creatures.
cross me.
The oath has been taken. Welcome to Summoner's Rift. "30 seconds until minions spawn.
Agencies mean nothing to me.
Minions have spawned.
Let's finish this quickly. They won't survive. I never compromise. Only fools pledge life to honor.
First blood.
There's nowhere to hide. Don't cross me.
An enemy has been slain.
On the razor's edge. Pathetic.
An ally has been slain. An ally has been slain.
This place is my favorite.
An ally has been slain. An enemy has been slain.
This is no challenge.
Have been slain.
Your allegiances mean nothing to me.
Enemy killing spree. An enemy has been slain.
Quickly.
An enemy has been slain.
Another body.
An ally has been slain. An ally has been slain.
They won't survive. I'll make good use of this.
They have been slain.
Only fools pledge life to honor. Their bones will wet my blade. There's nowhere to hide. Don't cross me. On the razor's edge.
The chameleon's walking proud. No one expects this from Poke.
Let's finish this quickly. They won't survive.
An ally has been slain. An ally has been slain.
Pathetic.
Bye, Daisy.
I never compromise. Only fools pledge life to honor.
I'll give
Have been slain. Enemy killing spree. Shut down.
There's nowhere to hide.
An ally has been slain. An enemy has been slain.
Cross me. Enjoy the taste of steel. On the razor's edge.
You have slain an enemy. Shut down.
Allegiances mean
An
nothing.
ally has been slain. Enemy rampage.
Let's finish this quickly. They won't survive.
An enemy has been slain. An ally has been slain. Shut down.
I never compromise.
Killing spree.
No wars. Only fools pledge life to honor. There's nowhere to hide.
An ally has been slain. Rampage.
Cross me.
You have been slain. An ally has been slain. An ally has been slain.
On the razor's edge.
Your turret has been destroyed.
Your allegiances mean nothing to me.
You have slain an enemy. An enemy has been slain.
They won't survive. I never compromise.
Your team has destroyed a turret.
Only fools pledge life to honor. There's nowhere to hide.
Enemy rampage.
Don't cross me.
An ally has been slain. Your team has destroyed a turret.
On the razor's edge.
An ally has been slain. Your turret has been destroyed.
Your allegiances mean nothing to me.
An ally has been slain.
Let's finish this quickly.
An enemy has been slain.
They won't survive.
Your turret has been destroyed.
This blade's my favorite.
Enemy has been slain.
I never compromise. Only fools pledge life
An
to
enemy
honor.
has been slain. An ally has been slain.
This is no challenge. There's nowhere to hide.
Rampage.
Don't cross me. On the razor's edge.
An An ally has been slain.
Let's finish this quickly. They won't survive. I never compromise.
An enemy has been slain. An ally has been slain. An enemy is unstoppable.
Life to honor.
An ally has been slain. Enemy double kill.
Bones will wet There's nowhere to hide.
Your turret has been destroyed.
Don't cross me.
Has been slain.
Gotcha! On the razor's edge. Nothing to me.
An enemy is legendary. An ally has been slain.
Let's finish this quickly. They won't survive. The forest protects us all.
Your inhibitor has been destroyed.
I never compromise.
You have slain an enemy.
Only fools pledge life to honor.
Killing spree. Shut down. Your turret has been destroyed. An enemy has been slain. An ally has been slain.
They won't survive.
Has destroyed a turret.
Well, that was satisfying.
Shut down.
Bye-bye, Daisy.
I never compromise.
You have slain an enemy.
pledge life to honor. There's nowhere to hide. Don't cross me.
An ally has been slain. Shut down. An enemy has been slain.
On the razor's edge.
Enemy triple kill. An ally has been slain.
Your allegiance is nothing to me.
Your inhibitor has been destroyed.
Let's finish this quickly. They won't survive.
Nothing in here but stalks of grass!
An enemy has been slain. Enemy slain.
Give it up!
An ally has been slain.
Good try. Almost left us
Your turret has been destroyed. Your turret has been destroyed. Defeat.
Creatures, which contain all the bits needed to make a cure for the plague. They are under the protection of Arabeth de Tilmarand, a legendary paladin, so everything should be fine. We start in the Academy, and this is essentially a long playable tutorial which you can choose to skip. It covers all the major playstyles of all the major classes, and in a really cool touch, you only need to play the tutorial for your class, but you can play the tutorial bits for the other classes. The trainers will even say to you, this isn't for you, but you can still try it just to get a feel for how it works. You can click to move with left click or use WASD. I'll be using click to move. And spinning the camera makes any foreground scenery fade out in a circle so you can always see your character. That's a nice touch. Talk to NPCs by clicking, open chest, open doors, pretty standard stuff. The inventory is grid-based with items having both size and weight, so we're limited in both how much we can carry and how much we can carry. The UI is fine. Optional minimap, which you can add your own pins and text to for notes, a compass. We seem to start with some gear already, so I put it on, and the character equip screen is nice and cleanly labeled. Now, most interactions from NPCs to enemies to items to even your own character model is done by right-clicking and bringing up the radial menu. And this is important. The radial menu has every possible option that you could do with that thing. Examine, interact, use, attack, steal, cast spell, command your summons or party members. It's all context sensitive based on where you're clicking and when you're clicking, but it's all here. Now, clicking an option can sometimes open further menus. It's deep, but you get used to it pretty quickly. It does have issues, as we'll see later, but in general, it's really nice, smooth design. Your journal has three main tabs. The quest you're on, complete with detailed recaps of what you're meant to be doing, quest you've already done, and then notes that you can make yourself. There are no quest markers markers on the map, either to collect new quests or to hand in current quests, so reading and remembering is really important. Thankfully, because of how the game is designed, even if you do miss a side quest, it will not affect the main story. The character sheet has all the basic info you made at the start and will also show all of the passive buff or spell effects that you are under. And the settings menu is great, allowing easy rescaling of both the game and the UI. So far, structurally, this is really well made. Leave our room at the academy and we are greeted by Pavel, and hang on, I know that voice.
I was afraid you were going to sleep all day. I guess the instructors work you pretty hard here at the academy.
That is Cam Clark. Cam has voiced roughly 4 trillion video game characters. He's Liquid Snake. He's the singing voice of Simba in The Lion King 2. He's He-Man. He's Darby in JoJo, Dritz in Baldur's Gate, Hercules in God of War 2, and the voice of Dr. Mobius in Fallout New Vegas, Old World Blues. The man is everywhere, and once you notice him voicing a character, you'll see him pop up in this game repeatedly. Pavel tells us that both he and his brother Bim were invited to the academy by Lady Arabeth personally, so they're quite important. We chat to Bim and he explains radial menus and basic combat, asking us to attack him. Combat, just like Baldur's Gate 1 and 2, is real-time with pause. The game is counting the time between the game rounds and giving you actions when your speed in that thing would allow you to have an action. For example, the amount of attacks you get uses your base attack bonus. The higher, the more attacks you get per round of combat. We'll look at ways of raising this later because it can get absurd, like 10 attacks per round absurd. Now, super important note, for the original campaign only, that's the one we're playing here, combat encounters are scaled to the player, meaning if you enter an area at level 3, you'll face level 3 enemies. Go in at level 10 and you'll face either more or more difficult enemies. This means the higher level you are, the more you need to understand the strengths of your build and patch the weaknesses that you may have or play around them. The expansions did not have level scaling. Spacebar, just like Baldur's Gate, pauses the game and lets you issue orders in combat. Advanced players can use the action queue feature to set up a load of things that will happen in order when they are able to happen. Dungeon masters can use this for monsters too, but the early parts of the game don't need you to use this at all. Pausing and using a potion or changing your attack target, that's pretty much all you'll need to do. You've also got the hotbar at the bottom of the screen with a second access by holding shift and the third access by holding control. You can add potions, spells, or abilities here using the radial menu. And once you've been in a fight, used a few spells, or lost some health, you'll want to rest to recover all of that. Unlike Baldur's Gate camping needing you to take a whole night, resting in Neverwinter just means sitting down for 10 seconds plus an extra half second per level of your character. A little progress bar pops up and you'll recover all your health and spells with certain effects, both negative and positive, wearing off. So you'll no longer be poisoned, but you'll also lose any summoned creatures. Bim sends us onwards to learn about shops, which are nice and simple. Merchant inventory, your inventory. My main issue so far is there's no way to directly compare an item you're wearing with an item you're considering buying. Now thankfully the numbers we're dealing with are pretty small, double digits at most, so it's very easy to understand, but it also means an increase of 1 or 2 defense can really matter in fights. One issue shops do highlight is how you cannot move the windows in the game around. If multiple windows are open at once, there is a preset order for which ones go where, and they can force others out of the way. A quick Google and yeah, you can't move the UI much beyond what the game wants you to have. Sell some of my starting stuff, buy a large shield and a warhammer, and I mean, we're basically done. This weapon combo cannot be beaten. I mean, technically you should be using a scimitar because then you get critical hits on both 19 and 20, but warhammer, big chunk of metal on the end of a stick. That's like the pinnacle of weapon design right there. Talk to more instructors, including one who gives you a quest to read the journal, and the journal says, well done, you passed, which I quite like. The combat instructor teaches us how to activate our special attack, parry, and I mean, that is completely pointless because time spent parrying is time spent not hitting things. And then I learned the greatest of all the combat abilities. You can attack chests and doors. So it doesn't matter if you can't pick locks or find keys. You don't need to. You can smash most things open to get at the sweet treasury goodness within. Now, as we'll see later, some things cannot be broken easily, but they can still be broken. Everyone loved Baldur's Gate 3 letting you attack doors. Neverwinter Nights was doing it 23 years ago. Being a war domain cleric also means I have a special power, calling upon the blessing of St. Cavil himself, which gives me a decent boost to my melee stats, accuracy, strength, and defense for about 5 turns. Use this in tougher fights. I'm not a ranger, but the game does let me do the ranger tutorial, equip a crossbow, grab some bolts, and shoot. Now, range is remarkably weak in Neverwinter Nights 1, especially for a solo character, but I love that the game still lets you try. This is the freedom that I admire in RPGs. They explain that you shouldn't, but they don't actually stop you. Ferdinand then lets us into the Menagerie, a collection of extremely tough monsters just here to scare new players. Thankfully, they're locked away. At least, I assume they're locked. I try the gate and, yeah, they're locked. Now, if you right-click an enemy and choose Examine, you won't be given their exact level or health values. Instead, you'll see a challenge rating, and this is a Dungeons & Dragons description thing and relates to that creature's level compared to yours, ranging from effortless, meaning 6 levels lower, to impossible, meaning 5 levels higher. Bear in mind, we will need to fight and beat impossible-rated enemies even with level scaling in this playthrough, and we'll need to do it solo. Well, sort of solo. On to spells. Yes, spell slots and resting. Okay, for non-D&D players, I'll try to simplify this. In Neverwinter Nights, you learn spells in different ways. Clerics gain a load of new spells on leveling up. Wizards can choose a few to learn as they level up, but then use single-use spell scrolls to scribe into their spellbook and use them again. Now, Brother Hammerbane has no time for reading in battle, relying on the blunt force of hammer and memorized words of faith. But it's not enough to just know a spell. You must have it memorized and assigned to a spell slot, and then have rested so the spell slot is available. Let's say you've got some cantrips. That's essentially a level 0 spell, and you have cantrip spell slots, then some level 1 spell slots, level 2, level 3, and so on. You open your spellbook and choose which spell you know is going to fill that spell slot for today. If you want to be able to cast Cure Minor Wounds multiple times, you'll need to take up multiple spell slots of that level. When you use a spell in the game, that slot is used up. To refill your slots, just rest. You can change around what's assigned freely whenever you're out of combat. So assigning spells to a spell slot and then resting is essentially guessing what you're most likely to need for the next bit. The Sorcerer class, however, doesn't have spell slots and has no need to prepare spells ahead of time. The trade-off is they can't cast as many throughout the day. The main issue here is needing to rest to recover the spell slots, because you cannot rest near enemies and the game counts the combat training dummy as an enemy, so I'm running all the way back to the start just to have a little sit down. This will be be happening a lot. The rogue training sounds cool, so I try to open a door and get stabbed by some hidden spikes, so I swear a lifelong grudge against doors and will be smashing down as many as I can. Brother Hammerbane cannot abide the sneaky cowardice of rogues or people with keys. Cleric training is more like it. Use our healing magic to heal an injured dude by the wall. Remember, you can heal your own teammates or summoned pets, and then test our AoE Turn Undead spell, which releases a burst of holy energy and causes nearby undead to flee in fear. Or if we have twice as many levels as they have hit dice, they will instantly die. Hit dice are a D&D thing we'll discuss when we level up. Mandatory training done, leave the academy and meet Lady Arabeth de Tilmarand.
Congratulations, your training here at the academy is now complete.
Arabeth is a half-elf paladin of Tyr, the god of justice. She's an all-round shining light of hope and personal friend of Nasha Alagondar, the current ruler of Neverwinter. Okay, it's time to use the water Davian creatures to cure the wailing death and save the city. Everything seems great, but then halfway through the ceremony, oh no, enemy mages teleport in and attack everyone. Everything is not great. We join the guards and repel the invasion, but Arabeth believes this was not random. It was a targeted attack to steal the creatures. With Arabeth believing the unknown enemy is likely using her magical signature as a location marker and teleporting to her, she stays behind as a distraction, and we are sent to check on the rest of the academy to see if it is safe, which it absolutely is not. And I hope you spoke to all the trainers because they are now all dead. Running back, we're attacked by goblins and some unknown assailants. But I'm a cleric, so I can magically empower my own weapon. But doing this in combat is dangerous because casting spells in combat or disengaging from melee combat will give the enemy a guaranteed attack of opportunity. And this needs to be understood for the game and all those calculations you're seeing in the chat box to make sense. So refill your cup of tea because it's time for a quick D&D combat lesson for anyone unfamiliar. Strap in, it's about to get nerdy. Neverwinter Nights is not just a game, but a construction toolkit to make Dungeons & Dragons experiences, so we need to understand the fundamentals of constructing a Dungeons & Dragons adventure. Dungeons & Dragons uses this nifty thing, a 20-sided dice, shortened to D20. If anything in the game has a chance of happening, such as successfully disarming a trap or hitting an enemy or not getting poisoned, that thing will have a difficulty check or DC. This is where you as a player roll a D20, and if your roll is equal to or higher than the DC of the thing, you win, and the thing you want to have happen happens. For example, if a door is barred and you try to break it down, that may have a DC of 10. So you roll a D20, and if you roll 10 or more, you succeed. The door is broken down, the adventure continues. But let's talk combat. Each creature, including the player, has an armor class, or AC. Higher is better. This is how difficult you are to hit in combat. Now, from a roleplay perspective, it could be argued that a failed attack against you could still hit you, but your armor did its job and protected you. However, for the sake of simplicity and mechanics, we will refer to all failed attack rolls as misses. When you attempt to hit an enemy, first you will make an attack roll. If the enemy has an armor class of, say, 11, you must roll an 11 or higher on the D20 to hit them. Remember, with 20 sides, that means you'll be hitting about 50% of the time. But we can improve your roll in 3 specific ways: your weapon skill, your currently active passive buffs, and using inherently better weapons. Let's have a look how. Let's say you're really good with a specific weapon, like a hammer, and you take a skill which gives you +2 to hit with hammers. Your attack roll is now a D20 plus your weapon skill bonus, in this case +2, because you are good with that weapon. But what if you cast a spell on yourself, like you gain +1 to hit for the next 5 turns on any attack? Well, now your attack roll is a D20 plus your weapon skill plus the passive buffs that apply to every attack. But what if the weapon itself is also magically blessed or enchanted to be super accurate? Like, this weapon gives the bearer +1 to hit. Well, that can add bonuses too. But enemies can have things which give you negative attack modifiers, like the enemy being magically shielded or blurred or just really fast. So when you see something like this in the text box, that is an attack roll, and it is the result of rolling a 20-sided dice, plus all the other stuff like your weapon specialty skill, passive accuracy buffs or bonuses, minus whatever the enemy has making them harder to hit, and then if that total roll is equal to or greater than the target's armor class, the attack will land, and you will then move on to the damage roll. Just be aware, if that D20 roll was a 1, we call it a natural 1, or critical fail, and it will always fail regardless of modifiers. Even if the actual total is above the enemy's armor class, a 1 is always a failure. The opposite is true for the D20 rolling a natural 20. That's a critical hit and will always hit, even if the enemy's armor class is higher than your total roll. A natural 20 is a critical success. Now, rolling 20 on the D20 is not only a critical hit, but also does bonus damage based on the weapon you're using. And one of the reasons that scimitars are so damn good in this game is because they count a roll of 18, 19, or 20 all as critical hits with bonus damage. How much damage you do when
cross me.
Welcome to Summoner's Rift.
Your allegiances mean nothing to me.
30 seconds until minions spawn.
There's nowhere to hide.
Minions have spawned.
On the razor's edge. Let's finish this quickly. Another ball for the gutter. They won't survive. Only fools pledge life to honor. I never compromise. Don't cross me. This blade's my favorite.
First blood. An ally has been slain. An enemy has been slain. An ally has been slain.
Will wet my blade.
An enemy has been slain.
Your allegiances mean nothing to me. On the razor's edge.
An enemy has been slain. An enemy has been slain.
Let's finish this quickly. They won't survive.
Only fools pledge life to honor. I'm a shoot
Enemy has been slain.
I never compromise. Don't cross me. Your allegiances mean nothing to me.
You have been slain.
There's nowhere to hide. On the razor's edge. Let's finish this quickly.
Sometimes I need to treat myself.
Killing spree. An enemy has been slain. You have slain an enemy.
Don't cross me.
Shut down.
Your allegiances mean nothing to me. There's nowhere to hide. On the razor's edge.
An ally has been slain.
Let's finish this quickly. They won't survive. pledge life to honor.
You have slain an enemy.
I never compromise. Don't cross me.
An ally has been slain.
Allegiances mean nothing to me. There's nowhere to hide.
Rampage.
Let's finish this quickly. The chameleons would be proud.
Enemy killing spree.
They won't survive. Only fools pledge life to honor. I never compromise.
Unstoppable.
Don't cross me. Allegiances mean nothing to me.
Enemy rampage. An enemy has been slain. Your team has destroyed a turret.
There's nowhere to hide.
Your turret has been destroyed.
razor's edge. No one expects the sneaky Clover. Let's finish this.
Dominating.
They won't survive. Only fools pay right to honor. I never compromise. Cross me.
Double kill. Major turret has been destroyed. An enemy is dominating.
Your allegiances. Let's finish this quickly. Enjoy the taste of steel. They won't survive. Only fools fight to honor. I never compromise.
An enemy is godlike.
Cross me.
Okay.
Your allegiance is nothing to me. There's no way.
You have been slain.
Razor's edge.
An ally has been slain. Shut down. Double kill.
They won't survive. Only fools pledge life to honor.
Bye, Daisy.
Your turret has been destroyed. Enemy double kill.
There's nowhere to hide. on the way.
Your turret has been destroyed.
An easy.
Your turret has been destroyed. Your inhibitor has been destroyed.
Gotcha! Only fools pledge life to
Fancy a treat?
An enemy is legendary.
Their bones will wet my blade.
Your turret has been destroyed. Rampage. Shut down. Your turret has been destroyed. An enemy is unstoppable.
Nothing here but us storm the grass!
Defeat.
When you successfully hit something depends on the weapon. Examining a weapon will show you which dice it will roll for its damage roll. Small weapons like daggers use smaller dice like D4. Larger ones like heavy flails use a D10. Great swords use 2 D6. So larger weapons attack slower but have greater maximum hits. And if the enemy has a damage absorption spell where smaller amounts of damage are ignored entirely, large amounts of damage are needed to overpower that. Now there are more modifiers based on your 6 primary stats, those things we put points into in character creation, but we only have several hours of video left and we can't get distracted just explaining all the D&D rules. Just be aware that weapon size matters here, because a creature can wield a weapon the same size as it in one hand, but a larger weapon will require 2 hands. So a medium-sized human can hold a medium sword in one hand and a shield in the other. But if they want to use a large sword, they'll need 2 hands. A small-sized halfling would need 2 hands to wield a medium sword, and they can't use large weapons at all. So when you're engaged in melee combat with something, you'll keep making attack rolls back and forth and hit each other as often as your attack speed allows, with each successful hit making a damage roll. But if you attempt to cast a spell while you're in combat, you'll give the enemy an attack of opportunity, basically an immediate instant attack roll, and if they hit you, you'll then need to make a concentration check. The difficulty of this concentration check is 10 plus whatever level the spell is you're trying to cast, plus the damage you've taken. If you fail that check, the spell will fail as well. Attempting to disengage from combat and run away will also give any nearby enemy an attack of opportunity, and you'll sometimes get it against enemies when they run past you. So melee combat's kind of risky. Committing to a big group fight means you're going to be there for a while, because if you try and leave, you'll immediately take lots of attacks against you. Now you might think that sounds quite in-depth, or dare I say accurate, to D&D 3rd edition. Well, that's because it is. Remember, Neverwinter Nights was always meant to be a framework that players created their own games within, and the fact it's still being used 23 years later to do that shows they clearly made something players and dungeon masters really, really like. So now you know what you're seeing when combat happens. Back to the academy. I've got a spell which increases my hit chance by 1 and my armor class by 1, but I need to remember to cast them before going into combat. Just be aware that until you've gained a few more spells or powerful items, early game combat, especially on melee characters, feels very, very slow. Dungeons & Dragons has always had an issue where early game combat is a tad too simple and too slow with too few choices, and ultra late game combat is far too fast and overpowered with a few objectively correct choices. Gary Gygax, one of the creators of Dungeons & Dragons, said when him and his friends played, once they were killing gods and nothing was a challenge, they would retire the characters and start fresh, as the early game struggle and simplicity had a unique joy to it. Smaller stakes, overcome with fewer abilities, can sometimes feel more rewarding than giant world-ending stakes. It keeps the personal touch. I've always found the same. Mid-level characters and campaigns offer the most flexibility in builds and choice, while also being balanced enough to stay challenging. And we'll start to see Neverwinter Nights hit that around levels 7 to 10. Dead enemies or broken treasure chests can drop loot bags, but these bags don't appear straight away. They instead slowly fade in, and they can be quite hard to spot against the also brown floor. Unfortunately, Parvel's brother Bim is dead, so with this floor clear, we push into the dungeons, finding an Amulet of Will, a magical passive buff. I won't mention every item I find, but I will mention any major upgrades to the build. So let's talk about loot, because this is one of the major differences between the Neverwinter Nights games and the Baldur's Gate games. In Baldur's Gate 1 and 2, loot is preset. You always know what an enemy will drop, or what a chest will contain. You always know where to find the rare magical items. You can effectively root the game. However, in Neverwinter Nights 1, loot is randomly rolled from a table of all possible loot loot, and this table updates along with your level. So if you want a chance of finding that level 19 Hammer of Thunderbolts, you need to be level 19, but it could be found anywhere once you are level 19. The higher level you are, the more gold you'll find and the better quality potions. The problem with this system is the massive table of potential loot that you could get covers every class and every item, even if you can't use them. Now, there is a slight weighting advantage toward weapon or armor types that you have put points into. So if you've pushed into being better at the longsword, you are slightly more likely to find a longsword weapon if a weapon would be rolled, but it's not guaranteed. And dungeons aren't repeatable. You can't grind the boss and open the chest again. Once you've looted something, that's it. That's the item you're playing the game with. So if you spend an hour crawling through a dungeon, taking down a big boss and opening a treasure chest to get something you can't use, that's effectively an hour wasted. The issue with this system, though, is how easy it is to exploit, because big treasure chests after bosses or at the end of long dungeons are always going to contain something good, but the loot isn't generated until you open the chest. So you can quick save before opening a chest, then open it, and if you don't like what you got, just keep reloading your save and reopening until you get the thing you want. So while what they were trying to do was remove the stale and predictable loot of Baldur's Gate, what they did was create a situation in single-player mode where you essentially reload until you get the thing you need anyway. Obviously, this doesn't work as well in multiplayer mode or persistent online worlds because you can't reload to before you open something unless every player agrees to do that. Now, in my playthrough, I used this system once or twice just to see how effective it is, but ultimately, it really kills the flow of gameplay, so I try to use it as little as possible. Eventually, we find Pavel. He's alive, and he asks to join your team to avenge his brother. And that's a really nice narrative justification for introducing a mechanical system, partying. So party members. In Neverwinter Nights, you can only have one humanoid companion, or henchman, with you. Now, with the right build, you can have up to 6 additional things involving exploiting summoned creatures or familiars, but for most normal players, it will be you and a helper. Now, you don't need to micromanage them. Indeed, you actually can't tell them to do super specific things. Unlike Baldur's Gate 1 and 2, where you're effectively in charge of ordering them to do anything, in Neverwinter Nights, they've got their own basic AI and will fight a bit differently. They'll also take the initiative, and if you fail to open a door or chest, they'll start attacking it with you, which I like. The game is really designed to be played with other human players, up to a group of 4, but the NPC companions do a fine job of filling in the gaps. Having a henchman with you sometimes offers a unique quest, such as finding items related to their backstory, but unlike the character-focused storylines of Baldur's Gate 1, 2, and 3, Neverwinter Nights was much more focused on combat, mechanical freedom, and player choice. So taking a companion is more about covering a mechanical weakness, less about unlocking a brand new narrative. The main storyline won't change, and all the companion quests are optional. But the important question, can you romance the NPCs? In a word, no. In more words, there are additional dialogues which can open up with Arabeth if you're male and Aringend if you're female, and the Arabeth plotline does have a small effect on the plot, but nothing game-changing. So sorry guys, no Astarion Halcyon /fix here. Just be aware that having henchmen with you, or summoned animals, does lower the experience you receive from combat. You'll receive 20% less for each companion you have, and that stacks, but it's multiplicative and not additive. So if you have 5 companions, you will actually receive about 51% of the experience that you would have gained if you were playing solo. Now, Brother Hammerbane is not one for sharing, but Pavel has lost his brother, and Hammerbane is absolutely one for vengeance, so Pavel can stay. Before we leave the academy, we meet Gelder, who teaches us the final lesson, how to level up. I throw another level onto Cleric, gain a few new spells, and some more hit points. Every time you level up, you will roll the hit dice and gain that many more hit points. You'll always gain a minimum of 1 hit point, but potentially you could gain a lot more. Now, in the future, I might multi-class, putting my level into another thing, but for now, pure godly cleric-y goodness. We explore around before leaving and find an unidentified glove. Some items in Dungeons & Dragons are magical, but unidentified. It used to be that you could equip stuff even if you didn't know what it did, risking maybe equipping some.
Let's finish this quickly.
Welcome to Summoner's Rift.
They won't survive.
30 seconds until minions spawn.
Your allegiances mean nothing to me.
Minions have spawned.
There's nowhere to hide. I never compromise. This is no challenge. Don't cross me. Pathetic. On the razor's edge. Only fools pledge life to honor. Let's finish this quickly. Enjoy the taste of steel. Another body for the gutter. This blade's my favorite. They won't survive. Your
An
allegiance
enemy has been slain.
hide.
You have slain an enemy.
Pathetic.
An ally has been slain. An enemy has been slain.
I never compromise.
An ally has been slain.
Enjoy the taste of steel. Don't cross me. On the razor's edge.
An enemy has been slain. An enemy has been slain. An enemy has been slain.
Only fools pledge life to honor. Let's finish this quickly.
An enemy has been slain.
Another body for the gutter. They won't survive.
An enemy has been slain.
This blade's my favorite. Your allegiances mean nothing to me. There's no
An ally has been slain. Enemy double kill. You have slain an enemy. Double kill. Killing spree.
I never compromise. Don't cross me.
Has been slain.
Only fools pledge life to honor.
Rampage. An ally has been slain.
Let's finish this quickly. They won't survive. Your allegiances mean nothing to me. Enjoy the taste of steel.
Think again.
There's nowhere to hide.
Has been slain.
Don't cross me.
Unstoppable.
On the razor. Only fools pledge life to honor. Let's finish this quickly.
An enemy has been slain. An enemy has been slain.
They won't survive. Another body for the gutter.
Your team has destroyed a turret.
Your allegiances mean nothing to me. There's nowhere to hide. I never compromise.
Killing spree. Your turret has been destroyed. Double kill.
Razor's edge.
Your team has destroyed a turret. An enemy has been slain.
Only fools pledge life to honor. This blade's my favorite. Let's finish this quickly.
An ally has been slain.
They won't survive.
Your team has destroyed a turret. Rampage. Dominating. Shut down. Shut down.
There's nowhere to hide.
An enemy has been slain. Shut down.
I never compromise. Don't cross me. On the razor's edge. challenge.
An enemy has been slain. An enemy has been slain. Double kill. Your team has destroyed a turret. Victory!
Something cursed and detrimental. If your lore skill is high enough, just examining an item will reveal what it is. If it's not, you'll need to pay a shopkeeper a small amount of gold to identify stuff. We find a big badass shield, drop my starter armor, and now we are talking. Also throw the short bow away. Rangers for cowards. And you'll realize that most of this game is inventory management. One of my issues so far is the pathfinding is not good. It can't deal with corners or multiple rooms, and you'll often get stuck on objects or walls. You need to manually guide it, mostly in straight lines. Reach the central room and take on a mysterious mage. The fight is brutal, and I am taken to 1 health, but somehow I survive. Unfortunately, Pavel does not. And it seems there's no way to revive him. So rip Pavel. Your sacrifice kept me alive. Bim would be proud. You can go and hang out with him now. Actually, Pavel dying might be a good thing because we can now loot his half-plate armor. Every cloud and all that. Fight into a stable and we spot 2 of the water Davian creatures we need. A Yuan Ti and a Dryad. But there's another fight happening and they flee before we can grab them. And when that fight is done, we meet 2 key characters. Fenthic Moss and Destha. Fenthic is a rather timid, nervous, naive elven cleric of Tyr, and he's dating Arabeth, so I guess nice guys actually pull badass paladin ladies. Fenthic is working under Destha Indolane, a Helmite priest who is convinced the Wailing Death can't be cured by these magical creatures and instead should be dealt with by blessing the people and everyone just having a bit more faith. Fenthic explains the assault to steal the water Davian creatures was unsuccessful. However, the creatures themselves have fled into the city, so we're going to regroup at the Temple of Justice